What's going on, everybody, and welcome back once again to the channel. And before we get into today's video, make sure to subscribe and stack that like button. Today's video, I'm going to be doing my USFL playoff predictions. So let's begin. This Saturday, the USFL will have their semifinal games where the New Jersey Generals will be facing with the Philadelphia Stars in the Northern Conference, and in the Southern Conference, the Birmingham Stallions will be facing the New Orleans Breakers. So I'm gonna break down both games, give my pick for who will win each, and then I'll predict who will win the championship. So let's begin. So the New Jersey Generals taking on the Philadelphia Stars. That's going to be an interesting matchup. These two teams have already played twice earlier this year. The Generals won both games. Both games were relatively close. First one, the Generals won it 24-16, and the second one, the Generals won it 26-23. Both games have been pretty tight. Overall, the Generals are the better team, and the Generals, should win this game. You would think, but when you're gonna face now a team for a third time in a year, and it is extremely hard. Whether you're in the NFL, college football, or the USFL, it is extremely hard to beat the same team 3 times in a single season, especially if it's a good opponent. Even if you're better than them, if it's a good opponent, it's gonna be hard to beat them 3 times. This is a game in which I think, how the Stars are able to respond against the Generals' running game is going to be vital. If the Generals get a big running game going early, it's going to be hard for them to be able to, for the Stars to be able to come out on top. It'll be interesting to see how much the Stars use DeAndre Johnson, because I feel like, obviously Luis Perez is the official starting quarterback now. It's been that way for a few weeks, but I think DeAndre Johnson will get his fair share of touches. And Case Cook, Kate Cook is a lot's going to be on him to be able to make the big throws for this Stars offense, because the Generals defense is not easy to go up against. We saw the Stars struggle in the first matchup, and we saw them struggle early on in the second matchup, and then start to get something together there towards the end. So they need to pick up where they left off for them to have a chance in this game. I expect the Generals to have a lot of sweeps to Cavante Turpin throughout the game. So my score prediction is Generals win it 28-20 in a game that I think is going to be hotly contested. It really could go either way. The easy pick is the Generals, which is who I'm picking, but it would not surprise me at all if the Stars come out with a win. And the Generals have a knack for starting off fast and then, slowing down as the game goes on and giving their opponents a chance to come back and win. Then for the next game, the Breakers versus the Stallions. So, in this one, the first time they played, the Stallions beat the Breakers 22-13, and then the second time they beat them 10-9. Both games were pretty low scoring, especially the second one, but both games, the Breakers offense was just not in a rhythm, could not get anything going, churning the ball over a lot. This game is going to depend entirely on Kyle Sloter. I think the Breakers can win this game. If the Breakers play their game and their defense does what they do and slows down every offense, and they've done it against the Stallions, they shut down the Stallions the last time they played, it just wasn't enough to win. The Breakers will win. I mean, Kyle Sloter just needs to be able to not turn the ball over. He has had a knack for turning the ball over. He is the quarterback who has the most yards in the USFL this season. It's the most pass-heavy team, but it's the team with a lot of turnovers, most turnovers, I believe. So Kyle Sloter really needs to be able to be on his A game. I guarantee you, if Kyle Sloter does not turn the ball over, and the Stars just play their game, which the Stars are going to play their game. They're gonna play well. It hangs on Kyle Sloter. So if Kyle Sloter does not turn that ball over and plays efficient, the Breakers will win this game, because the Stallions have too many issues right now. Their O-line is not good. Their D-line is not really being able to stop the run. The Stallions have issues. The Stallions have a lot of issues, and I just think that if the Breakers play their game, and like I said, Kyle Sloter, it all rests on him. And if he plays well, the Breakers will win. Theme here too. The Stallions have beaten the Breakers twice already, and I find it hard to believe them beating them a third time. I'm going to take the Breakers to win this one in a low-scoring defensive battle, 17-10, in a very low-scoring matchup, which now that sets up the Generals versus the Breakers in the USFL Championship. These two teams played earlier in the year. The Generals beat them 27-17, and these two teams are pretty opposite when it comes to offense. The Generals are a run on first and second down team, pass on third down. The Breakers are a pass heavy team where they're passing on any down in any given situation. This would be an interesting matchup if it plays out this way, like I think it will. Again, Kyle Sloter will need to play smart, because if he turns the ball over against the Generals and the Breakers fall behind early, they have no shot, because once the Generals have a big lead and they get their running game going, the game's over. So Kyle Sloter will need to be able to deliver. Now the problem is, I think the Generals defense is better than the Stallions defense, and I think Kyle Sloter is going to be more likely to make some mistakes. I say Kyle Sloter at least turns the ball over 3 or 4 times facing the Generals in the championship. While on the other side of the ball, although the Breakers have a good defense, they prove to not completely get clobbered, but get slowed, have some trouble stopping that Generals offense. Luis Perez was able to dot them up, if you will, pretty good. Have the Generals winning at 27-13. I just don't see the Breakers being able to match up well against them. And even though the Stallions did beat the Generals earlier in the year, the only team to beat the Generals, I don't think they would even match up well against them either. And I don't think the Breakers are going to beat them. That's my prediction, though. I have the Generals beating the Stars and the Breakers beating the Stallions this week. And then in the championship, I have the Generals beating the Breakers. So comment down below what you guys think is going to happen. Who do you think is going to win it all, and why? This has been a really awesome USFL season. I'm probably not going to make a video after the semi-final games because I'm not going to be in town, but I will make a video kind of reacting to the championship once the championship is over a couple of weeks from now, or a week and a half from now. So I'll talk to you guys then, but other than that, I'll see you guys next time.